5 minutes.
Your awareness may be powerful enough to control your instincts. Your instinct will be to remove your hand from the box.
It's your girl Meesh, and welcome to another episode of the Luv MEESH Podcast. And welcome to another episode of Luv MEESH Podcast. Okay, so we are doing chapter 7, television, control over the masses. Television is mind control. Turn off your television and read a book. Isn't it interesting how we've been watching television for years, decades, almost a century? We still believe that it is only for entertainment. That hit me because I just came to the realization that TV shows, movies, cartoons, like, they really trying to tell us the truth, and we just laugh. Like, oh, that was a great movie. Like, no, bitch, this is history. This is real life. And I don't have to go back and look at these movies like, oh, my God. And that's how I felt about the end games, too. We literally watched this machine that went from having less than 10 channels to well over 1,000. There was a program on every single hour of every single day on virtually any and every topic that can occupy a person's brain year round. But is it sincerely and truly for our benefit? As a people, or is it used for manipulation of the masses? Have you ever watched something and felt dumbed down after having watched it? Then again, have you ever watched something and felt more intelligent after having done so? Both are absolutely possible. However, for the simple overall understanding of the purpose of television, what is its actual purpose? Why is it almost mandatory that we have one in our homes? What true benefit does it give us? Even though we can now attach all of our apps to the TV screen, we can attach Netflix, we can attach YouTube, we can attach all different programs. So now it's more of a hybrid of internet and television. But for the majority of those watching, they are not watching to be mentally stimulated in an educational manner. This is the point that I've reached in my life. Like, entertainment is fine. Like, we still gonna have a human existence. We still gonna live out our human purpose. However, we are a dual being. We are human and we are spiritual. So if you should be living your life just as human as just as spiritual, and it should be balanced. I think I just been entertaining the hell out of this life, and I just reached a point, although I grew up spiritually, I just reached a point, bitch, this is a whole spiritual existence. So I think I'm more so on the spiritual side. I feel like I have to catch up so much for where I was just living a human existence and just YOLOing it up, to where I've just taken like a hard pause to like regroup and really catch my spiritual up. Because you know how the Indians give you that story, you know, you have your evil wolf and your good wolf, and whichever one you speak the most, that's the one that is more dominant. Well, I also feel like you have your earthly body and your spiritual body, and the one that you educate and love and nurture and care for the most is the one that's controlling the body. Well, I've been allowing my earth, you know, my YOLO, my party, my live it up, my entertainment, and now it's like, bitch, no, it's spiritual. So I feel like I'm not really entertaining anything outside of spirituality right now, because I have to catch up on all the times I feel like I wasted, basically. Okay, let's see. So now it's more of a hybrid of internet and television, but for the majority of those watching, they are not watching to be mentally stimulated in an educated manner. They're watching to be entertained in their way of describing it, but it's more of a programming mechanism than anything else. Many of us really don't believe this because it has become so subtle that we are not truly aware of it in our daily lives. But if you stop for a minute and think about what you watch and notice the change in your behavior, Look at how we operate before we watch what we watch, and then look at our behavior after we watch what we watch. Look at how fast we can think, do think before we watch and what we watch. And then look at the speed of our intelligence and how we think after we watch what we watch. Has it increased? Has it diminished? Has it improved? Has it lessened? These are things we have to truly and sincerely take note of. What is a television? Television is a system for transmitting visual images and sound that are reproduced on screens. They're generally used to broadcast programs for entertainment, information, and supposedly education. Virtually everywhere you've gone, there's television. Starting from within your home, in the car, even laundromat, hospitals, restaurants, airport, even on the airplane. Television is virtually everywhere, programming us every day, all day. The base word in television is televised. It comes from the root word tele, which in Greek means far off in vision, which something seen in the imagination, or of course is perceived through the eyes. So what does the Latin root of seeing something this far off? If you break the word down into television, you see, of course, television. Programming. Think about it. Television programming, the mainstream media, specifically the news, tell us lies virtually to program us. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is only fact. We should all know this by now. For people who are outside of the United States are absolutely aware of this, and they even make mockery and make fun of the fact that those within America don't even know how much garbage is on our own television. So pause. I have a real life story to confirm that. In my mom's neighborhood, there's a UPS. Okay, it was actually my neighborhood too. She was in the zip code that was close to mine, and we both could meet at that UPS at the same time. So neighborhood UPS. Okay. There's a guy in there who was in the United Nations. I don't even know. Sometimes people be telling me their whole life story, and I don't know why. This man done brought me behind the camera to his computer in the back room, showing me how he was a part of the United Nations. He showed me his check that was worth trillions of dollars. His job was a captain of a boat, and he would transport rice. It was nothing but rice on the ship, y'all. Like, that's a really big trade. He had another contract where he transported in Africa some UN tanks and stuff like that from the top part of Africa, I want to say Liberia, like towards the middle. And he said it was like nothing but desert. So he had to pack oil. He had to have the men ready. They had to have guns and stuff in case people tried to steal. And he has like these $1 trillion contracts. So I'm thinking in my head, the only reason we started talking is because I was changing my nationality from black to Indian. Now, y'all know I don't be fucking around with the internet. I mean, fucking around with the government. So I'm like, oh my God. This guy goes from somewhere across seas to this little ass UPS. He's not making trillions of dollars. Like, he got to be a CIA agent. This man got to be a plant up here asking me questions about my damn nationality. Because he even started to get... I didn't even catch it until he was like, so are you going to get a car? So are y'all going to get land? Okay, where y'all going to move? And I'm like, this man is really like questioning me. Like, first of all, I don't even know you. And then I was like, I even stopped going there because I'm like, I'm not going to go in your back office. This man could have put chemical on the damn napkin and put it over my face and had me knocked out in the damn back office. And just like, the more I learn, I just be like, I really be like, I don't be trusting nobody. And I even be praying for my mom and dad, because it really be like your circle. Like, they'll clone somebody in your circle and have them do the dirty job, the one that you trust the most. So I just be praying for my circle. My circle don't got real small. When I tell you I don't go anywhere, I don't do anything, it's like, Lord. But I do be praying for everybody and sending out my Rinky, so I don't have to be with you to still be with you. You feel me? Okay, let's see. I was going somewhere with that. Oh, and he said, he was asking me questions like, do you know where this is? I was like, I don't know. He was like, America. He was like, we outside of America laugh at you guys because you guys don't know anything. He said that to me. And then this what made me feel like he was an agent. I was like, I've been learning so much. Yeah, I'm changing my nationality. I've been learning the truth. I've been learning so much how 9/11 was a government cover-up. I don't have anything to say about that. Nothing about that. No. And I just thought it was so odd. Then when I went in the back room, he was showing me his contracts on the computer screen. I saw all the cameras. I'm like, he trying to cut me to the ass. So I said all of that just to confirm. Those within America don't even know how much garbage is on their own television. He even confirmed it. They laugh when they see that we believe stories that we hear on television. They laugh when they see us regulate the nonsense that comes from damn TV screens, news reports. We're reporting lies and the teleprompters that they typed up from us. Then we take it and run with it. You know what? This reminds me of the Truman Show. And it controls our behavior. It has become well known that the media is absolutely bought and paid for and concentrated and owned by 6 major corporations. This is why alternative news media is the best to watch and to listen to podcasts, independent social media news outlets who obtain their news from independent journalists and independent research, who actually go out and get the information themselves from the sources rather than trying to shift through millions of articles on Google. Here, the mainstream news that is being pushed is controlled for the benefit of the majority of corporations, including pharmaceuticals, oil companies, and much more. For example, News Corporation, which is owned by Keith Rupert, Muahhh owned Fox News, the Wall Street Journal, and the New York Post General Election, one of the top U.S. military contractors for the U.S. government. In addition, do y'all hear all of that? He owns Comcast, one of America's largest cable providers, which is running the subsidiary NBC network. Disney owns ABC and ESPN. Y'all, we don't own shit. This man owns a lot. CNN, TNT, and Time Magazine are owned by Time Warner. Of course, CBS Corporation owns CBS News, along with Viacom, who owns Comedy Central, among many others, including BET, which begs the question, how is black entertainment television really geared towards the benefit of black people when it's not owned by black people? The major purpose behind all the media outlets being controlled the way they are is to profit, ultimately for profit. It is not for the benefit of the masses. It's not to educate the masses. It's not to push the true information, to inform the people of what's going on so that they may be prepared for the things that they may not be aware of. What is it to take place so that people can be ready? What is to take place so the people can be ready and so they can live their lives better is to completely manipulate the way the people move. The beauty of all of this is that social media has given an avenue by which we do not have to rely on listening to loud mouthpieces from corporations or what we call news anchors and broadcasters for us to have a source of information. We can obtain the information and gain the truth for ourselves. Now, Telegram, who I proudly promote, I forgot what country their leader is wanting to ban Telegram because they're pushing information about not getting the jab, different medicines to take, the detox and all like that. Now that is what rubs my feathers. So once again, if you are just this big company and you're running the whole world, why would you care about little ass Telegram? Okay? Unless you know what you're promoting is wrong, unless you know that you're guilty. You know what I mean? It's just like, anyway. Just know and understand that the purpose of television and movies, for that matter, originally were not simply for entertainment all the way up to today. It is not, I repeat, simply for entertainment. So, that new Matrix that's coming out, it's a message. Now, when I think about Hollywood, there's a lot of black hats in Hollywood and a lot of white hats. Each movie is trying to tell us a message, and each actor or actress are playing their parts. You notice in every movie there's good and evil. As we watch the movie, we will either side with the good or the bad, whether that's consciously or subconsciously. But they are telling us history. They're telling us the truth. They're telling us now. And I don't know. We just leave with our popcorn, hot dogs, and our drink and be like, that was a great movie. Just missing the whole fucking point. They're pushing points across emotional sequences and emotional waves into the mind. Emotional context is very important rather than going through the discussion to gain logic and facts. But when you're watching a movie, you're simply being downloaded into without having any type of context as to as you would if you were to debate or discuss with someone. When you're watching something, your mental guard has been brought down. The sensory part of your brain is not in action. It isn't saying, yes, I agree with this, I disagree with that, not directly. You're actually in an alpha state being completely downloaded into with new ideas and socially engineered to carry out preset commands below your awareness. It truly is something that we have to analyze and look at ourselves and know that this is really going on. So I'm reading another book about the electric world, and I'm going to do a review on that when I'm done. I'm about halfway through now. And they talk about how when electricity first started, people began to be sick. And it names all of the sicknesses up into COVID right now. And he also, I like the book because it's not just about electricity. It taps into a lot of illnesses that go back to the electricity, though. So he ends up talking about the brain waves, the alpha, the beta, and how when there's a low frequency, people don't feel their best, they get sick, just everything. Like, when I say low frequency, I think of low vibe. Versus when there's a high frequency, people are happy, they're chipper, And that reminds me of how they just mentioned we put our mental guard down, and everything is on that emotional wavelength. And we don't even because we don't really talk about it, we're not even realizing that. So this is on some scientific level. Okay, so let me just move past this. Brother Malcolm X stated, if you're not careful, the newspaper will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the opposite. And I believe that's a true statement to today. So I'm in the process of changing my wardrobe, and as I learn more about just African American history, more so on the side of political leaders, I've never been into politics. Like, the changes that I'm making, they're just blowing my own mind. Like, I've hated history and politics and news, and like, who fucking cares? Like, I've just hated it. But you need to learn about it. You need to educate yourself on it. It helps you understand this bigger picture. So I said all that to say, like, I want to wear shirts with like Tupac and Malcolm X and Tupac's mom and his aunt. Like, I want my clothes to be a statement. I want to have like conscious clothes, so when people see me, whether they like the shirt or not, like, let's say let's say it could be a shirt just like that, like a picture of Malcolm X, and with that quote, if you're not careful, the newspaper will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the opposite. Like I want that. Like, I want to wear clothes that will send out a message, whether it's conscious or subconscious, and plant a seed. I also want to have like chakra bathing suits, chakra shirts, chakra plates and spoons and forks and cups. I wish God gonna have to help me with this seed, because I don't even know like where to begin with it, but we got to put more conscious stuff out there. Like, why could we have WAP on a shirt that is actually doing nothing for anybody when this will really feed somebody? A picture of Malcolm X, and if you're not careful, the newspaper will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. That's going to make you think, you know what I mean? That's going to wake up something inside of you. So and then I hate when people say, when I went to the funeral, one thing the pastor said that I absolutely hated, he was like, stop being like everybody else. If you try to be like someone else, then who's going to be you? I'm like, even if someone tried to be someone else, you can only be one of one in this whole world. Even twins, fingerprints, and a lot of stuff is going to be different, and they're fucking twins. So I didn't like that statement, because let's say you make breakfast, lunch, and dinner and dessert for your kids. So you mean tell me if I make breakfast, lunch, and dinner and dessert for my kids, I'm copying off of you? Like, get the fuck out of here. Everything that we all do is a copy. When you walk on the bread aisle, do you see one bread company, or do you see multiples? So if somebody would have told all them different bread companies, stop being I don't even know the fucking bread companies. That goes to show I don't be buying bread like that. But hey, wheat bread, don't be making yourself like white bread, because it's only one you, and if you like, I don't know. I'm just so aggravated by that. I was like, what the fuck fuck did that have to do about this man dying? But anyways, so I said all that to say, if you want to make conscious shirts, go ahead. Whatever you create is not going to be like anything that I create. Even if they are the same, they still going to be different. Because at the end of the day, what people don't be saying is that me and you make soap and we sell the same exact soap with the same exact ingredients. You're going to put your energy, your chi, and your prayer on yours. I don't want to say it for mine. Now, yours might have a different effect on your people, and mine might have a different effect on people. So, again, even if it's the same, it's not. Like, I don't really care about that. Like, somebody can literally copy all my business moves, and I'll be like, go, girl. Because at the end of the day, you are surrounding different people from me. So, we're just helping each other reach more people that we wouldn't reach apart. I mean, together. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I don't know why that ruffled my feathers so much. Let's see. The news media and its complete control over the masses attempts to push the belief of this false idea that it is the black man who should be feared when it is a complete option. And I put white man as an evil man, but at the end of the day, it's not really a color, because if we're souls, that means we can jump in any vessel we want. Shit, I probably can jump in a plant, a tree, a house, a car, or a soul, or an animal, right? So if you take out the color of the skin, the only way that you can really judge a tree is by its fruit. So if I say I'm a banana tree and you see oranges falling, bitch, run. You get what I'm saying? But if you see bananas falling, okay, you say you're a banana tree and I see bananas, okay, great. So, let me keep going here. Who is Al-Qaeda? A supposed terrorist who America says carried out the bombings of the World Trade Center on 9/11, which was absolutely found to be complete and total lie. I'm glad somebody else said it. What is very interesting, to say the least, is that Al-Qaeda is the same group that the United States of America contracted with to fight against the Soviet Union and Afghanistan to push them out of Afghanistan. This was admitted by Hillary Clinton in April 2009 when she was the Secretary of State under President Barack Obama. She testified before Congress stating, "We also have a history of kind of moving in and out of Pakistan." Girl, boy. In addition, Al-Qaeda is the CIA. See how Osama bin Laden is who America was working with as it pertained to Afghanistan and the Soviet Union. America worked with him and the Taliban, and then later tried to paint him as a boogeyman, saying that he and the Al-Qaeda were the architects of 9/11 and the bombings of the World Trade Center, which is a complete lie, and the people are waking up to these facts. 97% of the people don't know that Osama bin Laden was a CIA agent in the 1980s. He has a picture of Osama bin Laden with his Taliban, and then Osama bin Laden looking just like Barack Obama, if I'm being honest. Now I'm going to have a book coming out called If I'm Being Honest, because that part of me has awoken. Okay, so let's see. So I feel like Osama bin Laden was hired to do something. Osama bin Laden didn't want to do something at a certain point of view, but since his hands were dirty, by the time he pulled out, America was able to paint a picture of him and have the whole world turn against him, when he really was probably trying to protect us. What if they wanted him to? Okay, look at this. What if they wanted him to bomb 9/11? And he was like, no, the fuck I'm going to do that for? Like, you know, you guys asked me to do a lot of stuff, but I'm not going to kill a lot of innocent people. And then they pinned it on him anyway. You get what I'm saying? We'll never know. But like I said, continue to do good. And, you know, God will sort them all out. So let me see. I might have to stop. It looked like somebody else is coming. Okay, I'm back. So, let's see. This was good how he ended. Take your eyes off the television and get to know the people around you within your immediate environment. We used to go outside more. We used to know one another that lived on the block. We didn't have to lock our doors because everyone knew everyone. We trusted everyone on the block. The only thing that we did was we made sure that children were inside by the time the street lights came on. Other than that, we were familiar. We were together. We worked together. We even policed and secured the block together because everybody was an honorary community watch person. Whether it was our grandmother who peeked out of the blinds or our father who stayed on the porch, we made sure our environment was safe. Okay, so we have to get back to that. Sometimes we need to put down the phone, turn off the television, so that we can reestablish trust among ourselves, among our family, among our community. By reestablishing the truth, we can then find the love. And as we find the love, we can build trust among one another. Then this government will no longer have control over us and our minds. We will be our own. All right, Chapter 8, Mental Health and Mental Illness Facts versus Fiction. So we have 8. We have 9. 10. Ooh, child. It look like a little bit. 10. 10 might be it. And 11. 11 is only like 4 pages. So. And what are we on? 8? Okay, 8 through 11, y'all. So, let's see. Have you noticed that mental health has become a major topic across the country? Mental health has always been a topic of different points and times within the ebb and flow of society. However, mental health is a good thing. Mental health is the same as every form of health, in that it should be managed, it should be well taken care of, it should be balanced, it should be monitored by the individual, it should be helped so that everything can flow properly. In a world like this, it's very difficult to be sane. To be on your phone, to read what's going on, to watch the videos, to see what's going on. All of this constant negative, bad problem, that problem, this bad problem, this news story, that video, that person is shot, the earthquake in that country, the thing this government is doing, the thing that these people are doing, etc., 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 etc. It just seems like an overwhelmingly heavy cloud of bad news constantly hovering over us when we are simply trying to live and do our best on a daily basis. And that really hit me. Like, y'all, that hit me. So now I see why everybody was like, bye, pie, bye, pie, focus on the good, because the bad is like sinking sand, and it will like grab hold of your leg and try to take you down. Find things that you love. Find things that help you maintain a good state of positivity. And I put vibe high. If you have a spiritual system that you believe in, whether it's Islam, Judaism, Tayyoism, Nuwaubianism, whether you're a Hebrew, study ancient Kemetic, if you are simply a spiritual person or connecting with the universe, find that spiritual balance first. Then you must find that mental balance, which comes from having a strong spiritual balance. And then things will be much easier. So this was the new aha moment that I had in my life. Like, I've been on this spiritual journey for 5 years, and then it was like, okay, you got to get your mental together, and now I'm fusing the two of them together. So in this world, not only is mental health something that is constantly discussed, it's also something which is constantly manipulated. The term mental illness, there was a long history in America and in the world of the term mental illness being the justification for genocide, forced sterilization, and imprisonment and enslavement and the like. Which is why I be hesitant about sitting on somebody's couch and talking to them, because I don't need you saying, yes, we discussed this, that, the other, releasing my information to the court and then locking me up. Like, I don't even want my husband to have the ability to lock me up. Like, my his ex-wife locked him up, and like that really like hurt him. I'm like, damn. Like, I would hate for that to ever happen to me. Let's see. Benjamin Rush, the father of modern psychiatry, came up with the term. Came up with the term nigritude. He said all blacks have inherited this so-called disease, leprosy, causing the skin to be dark. Are you kidding me? So black people remain segregated and separate from whites, so that whites do not inherit this so-called disease, y'all. So our ancestors are rolling over in their graves because they were told that they have a fucking disease. Now we can't get them to leave us the fucking alone, trying to kill us and scrape off our brown skin and put it in melatonin vitamins. Go look that up. If I'm eating banana pudding, what's in that banana pudding? Bananas, right? If you're eating melatonin pills or vitamins, what's in that melatonin? And them vitamins be looking brown too. When somebody said that, I was like, oh my fucking God. We really be eating each other and don't even know it. Just go stand in the sun. And I noticed, like, me and my siblings, when we be in the sun, we get darker over the summer, we get lighter over the winter. It's just, that's what your skin do. Okay, so let's see. Benjamin Rush justified segregation as a medical necessity. It became an argument to continue slavery. Like, I'm so down with them. They couldn't even allow my people to be free. They stole this, like, everything is lies. You stole this land, lies. You, my people was warriors, but you had a gun, so you captured them. They were whole king and queens doing just fine by themselves and one in tune with nature and God. And you did all of this to them, and we just supposed to accept the laws and rules that they have. Like, it will always be a hell no for me. He even put whipping the devil out of us. Yes, that was an official cure for our mental illness after slavery was abolished, to whip the mental illness out of us. Like, are you kidding? Kidding me? And I hate reading stuff like this because it fuels a hatred in me. And I don't hate white people. Like, I grew up around white people. White people was my best friends. I had like a few black friends, and the rest of them was white just because of how I grew up. So I had to reprogram myself to, okay, don't look at all white people like that. Although a lot of them older ones could be racist and at your job and you'll never fucking know. But to just judge a tree by its fruit. Psychiatrists established mental hospitals throughout the country. There were, in fact, nothing more than slave labor camps. This is true. Operating under a private company by the name of Smith, Mitchell and Company. They were saving money through cheap accommodations for psychiatric patients, aka black slaves, while making a massive fortune out of the money that Parliament had appropriated for medication. So it was a corrupt system. When this operation was finally exposed, it was discovered that 67,000 people had died, while at the same time psychiatrists had collected $117 million in funding from the South African government. Over jail, y'all. And that industry still exists today. The World Health Organization declared in 1983, not too long ago, that psychiatry had cultivated racism and that a part of it had to be parallel in the ownership of trading of slaves. The World Health Organization Commission stated psychiatry certainly does have a parallel in the ownership and trading of slaves. So slavery supposed to end at how long ago? But this clearly said 1983. Oh, okay. Then there's this guy in 1971 in Los Angeles, a psychiatrist by the name of Louis Jolly West, who had a legacy of racism, had a government-funded plan to implement electrodes in the brains of African Americans. So I used to have an Apple Watch. I do have a MacBook Pro, very old. I do have an iPad, and I do have an iPhone. I'm not grading any of them anymore. When they die, and I'll just have to get something new. But I used to have I was like an Apple head. I got an Apple sticker on my car. I used to have the Apple Pods for your ear, the Apple Watch. The more I learned, like how, they're collecting our medical data. Why? So that you could plan an accident and get my organs? I don't think so. I gave the watch away. And then with the headphones, they were saying it was messing with your brain. Just like having the phone up to your head is bad. It's best to have speakerphone. So while everybody using their ear pods, I still be plugging up my cord. So you could be like, oh my God, everybody got ear pods. Why you still got cords? Right? That just explains your mentality. That just explains that you don't know. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, oh my God, you got ear pods. Why? Why don't you have a cord? Do you not know what that's doing to your brain? So life is funny. It really is. The number one thing that I'm going to instill in my children is knowledge and wisdom. Because knowledge is knowing something, and you can stop there. You can know everything in the world and not apply it and be a knowledgeable fool, right? Wisdom is the application of the knowledge that you have, learned or collected. So if you're not going to use the knowledge, you're still a fool. You're just a knowledgeable fool. When you use the knowledge, you're wise. And when you're wise, you can, no one will be able to fool you. You basically can end up conquering the world. So they're using their wisdom at the foolish. They're using their wisdom to try to keep people foolish. And that's, I don't know. Who can you blame but yourself, right? Let's see. So the reason why he wanted to put electrodes was to shock them if they exhibited any violent behavior. And if that didn't work, then chemically castrate them with drugs. So a lot of people smoke weed. I wonder. You know what I mean? A lot of people are on drugs. I can't help but wonder. And who's not to say that these cell phones aren't shocking us? These iPads aren't shocking us. The TV isn't shocking us. The car isn't. Who's not to say that they don't have that technology to where they're shocking us when we misbehave? And the same thing that they do on dogs, they're capable to do on humans. So the same way you put that leash on that dog and zap it, they test animals first. Just always remember that. And they don't stop there. They have to test it on. They always will test it on humans. So for him to even put that in here, it's like, oh, okay. So he said, with mental health being brought into question all the way back to the shootings of the Columbine with Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, all the way up into 2019 and beyond, it has only been brought up after an atrocity has been committed. Whether there was a stabbing or of someone, or there was an attack, or whether there was a mass shooting or murder, when they go to court, the mental illness or mental insanity, their declaration of insanity is their universal cop-out. It is their trump card or their literal get-out-of-jail-free card. And that is something that everyone has analyzed, understand, and note at what point will we see them being treated the same way that we are being treated. Also, if they have such a high level of mental illness, then my question is, why are they not in mental asylums? Why are they not taken out of society? Why are they not put in areas safe and secure away from the general population, so the general population can be safe if they have such high levels of mental illness? It seems as though every single mass shooter is mentally unstable. And I put, because they are civilian soldiers doing the dirty work for the cops. Not only are we, as black and brown and original melanated people, not safe, but even other white people are not safe. These are things which have to be understood and changed. For if it is not confronted, where will this world be in the next 5 to 10 years? Guns are absolutely brought into the question because with the high level insanity running rampant in the society, how can we truly trust not only others, but how can we trust ourselves with guns? And of course, for some, they feel that a gun is necessary. This is why our mind has to be right. Study more, educate ourselves more, learn more. We have to continue to build and construct mental muscles in order for us to survive. We have to be of sound mind, less drinking, less smoking. If not, no drinking, no smoking, and require this in order for our mental faculties to be as sharp as possible. Whether we are doing it for our children, yes. Families, yes. Community, yes. Nation, yes. People, yes. Or simply ourselves. We must think about the bigger picture. And if our mind is not under our control, then who is controlling it? Mental muscle. Think. It ain't illegal yet. Eddie Griffin. He put on 9 argument over religion after we're free, period. And I put, how about don't all religions lead to source? Okay, so 10, law of the land. This, I didn't want to go into too much because I have so much research to do on that. I don't want to read something that I'll fully get. But he was explaining how there's the law of the land and the law of the sea. Let me see if I can find a short. He said, understanding law and the words of law, you will find there are two primary things which this planet has: water and earth, water and land. Consensually, there are two kinds of law: the law of the land and the law of the water. You've heard the term law of the land, but in point of fact, there's precisely what this word means, law of the land, because it is the people who live on the land. Now, you can do things in America that you can't do in Russia. You can do things in Africa you can't do in England. So the law of the land is the law of the culture that lives on that particular land. However, there's a higher law that dominates the entire world. It's called the law of the water, or the law of the high seas. The law of the water is referred to as the law of money. In this realm, it doesn't matter what color you are, where you're from, or where you live. Money is money. And any time you're doing banking or using money, you're now under the law of the water. Maritime admiralty. If you go back in history, in ancient history, where all of this began, back in the land of Canaan, you can read about Canaan in the Bible, or the Canaanites who were Phoenician. In the ancient Phoenician language, Canaanite meant merchant banker. This is the very word merchant comes from Mary, which means sea or water, as in mermaid. So it goes into that whole I remember telling y'all a while back that there were these two men that became the post office general for America. They rewrote the Constitution, redid the flag. They helped Hawaii become its own whatever again. They went all over the world and was helping China, Russia, and all these people redo their constitutions and stuff. And they basically were saying that language in America did not mean the same thing as language in other cultures, because words, they don't really translate. So what they did, these two brilliant men, is they turned words into mathematics. So if 1 + 1 = 2, they did the whole alphabet that way. So that way, when someone in Chinese says something, it equals the same exact thing in American. So I feel like they basically took out, the women, men, whatever. I can completely understand how they were able to do that. These people were going around saying, you're a sovereign being. If you go to court, just call me. I'll get you out. This, that, the other. And one of them actually died. So when we knowing this, I actually thought back and I was like, I wonder if he got OJ off. You know what I mean? I wonder how many people this man done got off. Because he said if you, like in court, if you come in front of the little gate, you're under the judge. But if you stay behind the gate, you're your own sovereign being or something like that. And I mean, they were doing a whole course on it. And then at one point in the video, he was mentioning Illuminati. So I was like, I didn't really know if I needed to be a part of Illuminati to go any further. Not Illuminati, Mason. Which my mother was a Eastern Star. So if I want to join, I have that birthright. But I haven't learned much about that part enough. But what I do know is that the birth certificate is a bank account for sure. So it says, when you are born, your parents register you with the government as a corporation by receiving and signing a birth certificate. In a few years, your corporation will receive a taxpayer's ID called a Social Security number. This is so you can be used as a collateral for the government to acquire debt. That's right. You and your labor, time, and energy is what backs up the national debt. You are stock. Just like the damn cows, chicken, and turkey. He also put in here, it's time to get back to studying and researching. He ain't never lied. He said, think about this. At a certain point, there was sovereignty. We actually had sovereignty where we self-govern and rule over ourselves without an outside power or authority. Now from 1868 right down to this very moment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. You have a good one.
You too.
For example, remember the cowboy movies where they would show cowboys and Indians? They would also show them riding into town. They would get off their horses wearing their guns. They would walk right into the bar with their guns. If two guys got into an argument, they'd go outside, draw their guns, and shoot. Basically everybody was able to monitor, handle themselves. Prior to 1868, all so-called Americans were considered sovereigns, with the exception of those who were enslaved. And that was one of the benefits of being sovereign. You had the right to own yourself, the right to self-govern. We had to understand that in 1868, there was a corporation founded. Anyone can incorporate a company, but in 1868, there was a company incorporated. And in that particular company, the founders of the company called it or referred to it as the United States Corporation. They stipulated that anyone who would be a member of that corporation or work for that corporation would be called not an employee, but a citizen. So if someone asks you, are you a citizen of the United States? What you think you're being asked is, are you lawful in the country to do business? This isn't what is being asked. They didn't ask for you an American lawfully. They asked you a specific question. Are you of your own violation, out of your own mouth, testifying that you are a citizen of the United States? Because in that way, citizen of the United States means that you're an employee of a foreign corporation operating under the international maritime law. So today, the president of the United States is the president of a privately owned company. In each of the states in the United States, the corporation have a Dun and Bradstreet number. These numbers are reserved for corporations only. The company is called United States, and the word president is always a word that is used in corporation law. Banks have corporation. All companies have presidents. When I started my business, I turned my people in under something else. I think I put CEO, and he said, you have to go back and do president. I didn't even know that. So it is a corporation called the United States, privately owned, and it has a president. President Donald Trump is not the president of America. President Donald Trump is the president of a privately owned company, privately owned out of England, and we need to understand words and terms. So when people were being upset at him, like, he's the president, he's running this country, he need to stick to business. That's exactly what the fuck he was doing, and that's why he was able to be a president. This man has ran successful businesses, and just because he did bankruptcy 3 times, they made those laws for a particular reason, and he was doing exactly what he was able to do by doing those, by following those laws. Like, how can you be mad at somebody for doing something by following rules that are set for said person, to be able to do? So I don't think people realize that. But anywho, let's see. I don't think I want to get too much on that because I'm going to do a separate podcast on that. Because I just started the process myself. Like, the first thing I did was switch from black to native. And so now I'm going to look into the rest of that stuff and see what I am and am not able to do being employed with the Treasury right now. So it was established under Caesar of Rome that all nations in the empire that do business must play on a level playing field. If you do business in Africa with China, you pay them. And if Africa does business with American companies, they're supposed to pay them. You pay whatever it is or whoever it is that you're doing business with. The most severe law in this world is UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. It's the Bible of the business of the earth. Uniform Commercial Code is based directly on Vatican Roman canon law. Now, we spoke a little on maritime law where we mentioned the birth certificate, and when you come out of your mother's water, therefore you must have a birth certificate or certificate of manifest because you are a corporation. You are a human resource. This goes back to the German Nazi concept that every human coming out of their mother's water must be birthed, and therefore you have to have a certificate of manifest to see how much this individual is going to make for us in our new world order. Did you know, for example, your birth certificate is a security traded on the New York stock market and across the globe? If you order your birth certificate and look at the bottom, it will tell you that this is printed on a security paper. Do not accept if not on full color security paper. On the right hand corner, you'll see a series of numbers, normally red numbers. Those numbers are security stock exchange numbers on the World Stock Exchange. Go to any stock office and ask them to check these numbers in the computer and see how much the stock is worth, and they will check it on the New York Stock Exchange. What they will find is you are worth money to the international bank that brought you. We need to wake up. Slavery never ended, y'all. It just got smarter. After being born, our birth certificate is registered with our country's central bank as a corporation. This is why hanging out with some people is bad business, and asking about certain things is sometimes none of your business. We are used as leverage for war. We are used as investment property. This is one of the reasons why there are so many things occurring, not only in this country, but in other countries. So it is quite evident and obvious that everyone needs to meet their straw man. He was born around the same day as you, looks like you, has the same name, lives in your house, but you never knew he existed. You will have even paid his parking tickets or taxes. The worst part is that he's being dead from day one. From every birth certificate, an illegal personality or legal fiction or corporated is created with the same name as you to confuse you into thinking it's you. So there is a human you and there is a legal corporation paper. You are what is commonly known as a straw man. You are a man or woman. You have a person. Meet your straw man. So it seems like the government official, county clerks, or police officers are speaking English and they aren't. They're speaking legalese designed to get you sucked into verbal arguments and contracts without even knowing. We need to study the Black Laws Dictionary in order to gain a true understanding of what's really being said. For example, when the police say, "Do you understand?" you'll say yes. But what they are really saying is, "Do you stand under our authority? Do you know that you just created a verbal contract with them?" Did you know that whenever you register something, you're handing over a title to the person you register with? Whenever you register anything with the government, they assume it belongs to them. This includes registering your car. If you're expecting a child, they tell you to register your baby with a new birth certificate. They then can start the process all over again, create a new straw man for your little one. So when your child grows up, he or she will be able to generate revenue like you have for the government. When you get a bill, it's sent to you but belongs to your straw man, not you. That's why bills and summons start with Mr., Ms., or Miss, or most of the time you'll see your name in capital letters just like on a grave. That's because your straw man is dead and just really a piece of paper created before you even knew what consent was. When you go to court, you represent your straw man. So you are the living, breathing human being taking on cost, fees, and taxes meant for the dead straw man. The human being you didn't need to pay them, but you made a contract with the court by voluntarily appearing on behalf of your legal personality that they created. The government doesn't want you to know any of this, and if you did know, you would stop paying taxes, parking tickets, and many other things. So this is the confusing part of my life. Like, I know we're not supposed to be doing things, and I don't want to do them, but I haven't officially figured out how to not do them. So it's just very frustrating to know that I don't have to do things and I'm doing them because I haven't figured out how to not do them. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? But I'm going to get there. The worst thing they ever did was teach us how to read, as it's up from here. Okay, so I'm going to stop on that. The trinity of the globalist stronghold: City of London, Vatican City, and Washington, D.C. These three states control the world. When the living human being dies, the corporation gets cashed out. All that money, which is usually billion, goes straight to the government, and you are simply discarded. You are a worthless person because you did not invoke your rights as a living being. You just allowed a corporation to live in your place. Sometimes I feel like when we go to war, 9/11, all these bombings that occurred. There was one in Miami. The building just all of a sudden crashed. Just these random big events, war. I'm like, are these companies just like cashing out to pay their debt? Or let's say as a country you've accumulated so much debt, and then someone comes to you and be like, you need to pay up, and you don't have the money. So they end up like, let's say, doing 9/11 so that you do have the money to pay them. And it's like, only if that country had not dug themselves in so much debt, then someone else wouldn't be forced to do such a tragic event just to be paid back. Because with me and you, if someone owe you, you want your money. Same thing with these corporations. If you're owed, you want your money. So I guess that's why with the universal law, it just say you do good personally and that'll help the world. Because if everything is a reflection, like maybe if we don't get in debt, the world won't be in debt, or the reason the world isn't in debt is if we're in debt individually. So it's like we got to do better in order to help the system do better. There's just so many ways to view this thing called life. It ain't right, you know what I mean? Those people did not deserve to die at all. And when I think about COVID too, how they're saying when those people were put on the ventilators, they were given like $11 million. So it's like instead of curing them people, you just letting them people die so the hospital can get paid. And then, you know, you just heard the government gets millions. The funeral home gets money. If they have policies, those money come out. But none of that money at all, even if it was always added up, is worth that person's life, you know, or the special place that person had in different people's lives, or the things that person was sharing with people. But it's one more. This is 11, y'all, and we is done. So let's see, 11. The only solution is unity and separation. It is quite clear that our being divided in no way gets anywhere. We have to come together as a people in order that we may be successful, in order that we may realize true freedom. And this is simply fundamental. Every great nation that wanted to remain great had to separate from those things. Okay, let's see. Let me scroll over. Being in a society which thrives off of ignorance, that thrives off of our sickness, which thrives off of our poverty, which thrives off of our lack of productivity, can it be a system that is beneficial for us? If this system grows stronger when we are weak, if it becomes smarter when we are less intelligent, if it becomes richer and we are more poor, if it becomes happier when we are sad, if it is thriving when we are decaying, then it cannot be a system that's good for us. I agree. The laws which apply to us within certain amendments still label us as 3/5 of a human being. Yes, we are still looked at as property. Yes, we are still looked at as 3/5 of a human being, as 3/5 of a human being, and I repeat, as 3/5 of a human being, which is less than that of a dog. We must establish our own cities, our own states, our own territories. This is not something that is radical, too far-fetched, or insane, or extreme. However, the condition that we are currently in is an extremely negative one, so it does require a positive, extreme solution. You cannot want to integrate with your oppressor. It has not worked. This is why when you see little China in every major city in America, they're thriving. You see Armenia in every major city in America, they are thriving. You see little Cambodia, you see little India, you see even little Bangladesh. And of course, there's a Jewish district in every major city in America. They have their own policing. They have their own farms, grocery stores, post office, businesses, schools, etc. Yet, they are living comfortably as being a nation within a nation. No one comes down on them for wanting to be separate but equal. No one comes down on them for wanting to establish or having their own everything. No one comes down on them for choosing to be self-sustaining, self-respecting, self-governing. No one comes down on them for having their own sovereign territory. And they can even call their own while harmoniously living among other people. No one can respect us until we have our own. And the fear that we have is that if we establish our own, it will be bombed the same way Tulsa, Oklahoma was bombed in 1921, and that is not going to happen. We will secure our borders. We will establish our own governance. We will have our own policing. We will have our own food supply, lines, construction. We will own everything, and it will be successful. So he has a picture of Black Wall Street. They have 600 businesses, 21 churches, 21 restaurants, 300 grocery stores, 2 movie theaters, 6 private airplanes, plus a hospital, a bank, a post office, schools, libraries, law offices, and even a bus system. Now, this is something that I didn't know, y'all. Let me state this. This is, it's dear to my heart with real estate. He said, let's start now. Look at property to buy. Local real estate. Put money together. Join together with at least 10 people. Have like mind. And each put together at least $1,000 to come up with 10 grand to make down payments on property. Use your credit. Use your connection. Use whatever you have to build something for our people. Because begging at the feet of the system has not worked and will never work. So we might as well go back to how it was when we had over 60 all-black thriving towns in America. Tulsa, Oklahoma was only one. Bitch, I never knew that. That shocked the fuck out of me. So I'm going to read them. Hundreds of black people from Kentucky took up the call and set off to a new colony in Kansas, traveling with the promise of new and better life. One of the settlers, Willie Yana Hickman, joined 300 people leaving Kentucky for Nicodemus in 1878. She and her family traveled 2 days on a train before reaching Ellis, Kansas. It was a difficult and treacherous journey, but they made it all the way down. See, we didn't know much about the things because they didn't want to document all these black towns. They didn't want to document the fact that we actually had our own cities all across the country. They want us to focus on Tulsa. They want us to focus on Rosewood. But there were far more. For example, Black Dom, New Mexico, Hobson City, Alabama, Allensworth, California, Rettonsville, Oklahoma, all of which were black cities. Oklahoma's all-black towns included Clearview, Bollie, Langston, which were all founded around 1890 according to the Black Towns Project. Mound Bayou was founded in 1887 by freedmen led by Isaiah Montgomery. The town, according to blackpast.org, was designated for the residents to have very little contact with whites. They had a post office, churches, banks, schools, stores, and was often cited by Booker T. Washington as a model of self-sufficiency. Eatonville, Florida, where Zora Neale Hurston grew up, was incorporated in 1887. That's where she went to collect black folklore. Greenwood, a division near North Tulsa, was founded in 1906. According to records, it was created by O.W. Gurley, a wealthy black man who owned land in Arkansas. According to the Tulsa Historical Society and Museum in 1889, Gurley traveled to Oklahoma to participate in the Oklahoma Land Run. Gurley purchased 40 acres which were designated and designed only to be sold to colored folk. According to the records, the town of North Britain was the first incorporated black multiple city in the Washington area. According to the Maryland Heritage Area Authority, North Britain was established in 1890s after Wallace A. Bartlett, a white Civil War veteran. I ain't even gonna read that, lies. According to North Brentwood Historical Society, other black-owned towns and communities in Prince George, Rhode Island, including Glenarden, Lincoln, Chapel Hill, and Roseville. And originally, there are so many cities and towns that we had and we were successful in, and there were no issues with us having our own. So why shouldn't we have our own today? And I put because they need us. He put unity is more powerful than the hydrogen or atomic bomb, says the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I truly believe that if we come together as black people first and then come together with our own human family after we are solid and successful, then we truly will see a better future in this world. However, let's see where we go from there. This is only part one. Your brother in the fight of freedom, justice, and equality. Peace be unto you, Brother Rizza Islam. So it's time to go in and make a smoothie for the baby. So I think 4 are up and the babies are still asleep. So it's almost dinner time. So I guess I'll make a smoothie and we can snack on that. So yeah, that concludes this podcast. I really, really love this book. Please get it for yourself. Get it for your family, your friends. There's so much knowledge in here. Even if you don't understand it now, just read it. Let it marinate in your super subconscious. And it'll, it'll start to grow. And you'll be able to do something with it later. But I will catch you guys on the next episode. Remember, Namaste, Lovaste, and vibe high, babes. Catch you next time. Thanks a million for listening. There's a million podcasts in the world. You clicked on this one, this one, to hear what I have to say. I hope universe has a special message for you. You can reach me on Linktree at /love.meesh. I hope you have a better than great day. Love ya. Talk to you later. Bye.
You all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. And yet, I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you!